Basically, now the train has just arrived, and I just finished the video up, but the train actually arrived. This is actually the coolest one because it's like the engine and train all together. It's pretty cool. But anyway, it as I told you, it gets pretty packed. There's a lot of people down that way. This is the first one of the day, I believe, as it arrives. So let me take you up. I don't want to show people's faces as much as I can, but uh, yesterday there was a game up in Seattle, the Seahawks, and so it was just busy, 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 busy. So if you notice, this train will leave soon, and another one will come in its place. But this is what I was talking about. You have to look at the side here on one of the cars, and it will tell you where it's going, because otherwise, just going by the track doesn't tell you. So you have to, doesn't matter which side of the track it's actually on, but it gives you an idea. So, train goes way down there, all the way down. Now, they're they're wanting to add two more cars to it because there's so many people, and it's actually big enough to do it. This station here is big enough. This station was just updated not long ago. They rebuilt the whole trestle. This used to be a wooden trestle bridge. They replaced all that. So these are all people coming typically from Seattle. So these are typically people that you saw that worked up in Seattle but lived down in Tacoma. So I'm going to sit here. What's cool is I can do this because now he's watching the store, so I can just sit here and kind of record the train. So soon, he just looked out the door, and they're going to head further south. And then another one will come on. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, ride the wave. What's cool about this is that it is somewhat three levels. You obviously have the bottom level here, level number 2, but it doesn't go all the way across. And then you have the top level, which is level number 3. So it's pretty cool. And this is considered to be the South Line. The South Line's the busiest of the commuter rail lines in the area. So this heads down towards there's another stop in Tacoma. Eventually there will be a stop in DuPont. Yeah. So that's going to be a few years off, but DuPont, they're going to have a station there. And I believe when they have the station, it will be big enough for 10 cars. Now, when the train stops on the other side, you can't walk straight across over. You have to walk all the way down the platform onto the street down there and cross over. Now, a lot of people, they're parked in the garage on the other side of this building. So again, you're never going to know which side the train's going to be on. But now, since this train is on this side, the other one coming in will be on the other side. So we already saw, instead of sitting, let's just walk all the way up the side of this. So that's car number 1, 2. This was the third one. It's the fourth one. Now, vehicles can drive on this that I'm walking on. Cars do drive on this. Actually, this is a loading area but during the week, you're not supposed to. That motorcycle's not supposed to be there. During the week, you can't because of the train traffic. They don't. They don't really like that. But gives you an idea of how big it is. So, not counting the engine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 cars. So this is the same track that Amtrak uses as well. There's 2 different Amtraks here. Of course, this is the entrance to the sounder. You want to tap that when you get on, and when you get to your destination, again, tap when you get off. So let's continue on up. This is a better view of the inside of Amtrak. It's just like a small little airport. Let's go all the way up. It's going to be a little bit loud, obviously. So, and there is security. Cool. Sorry for it being so loud, but we walked the entire distance. Now I would imagine, if you notice, there's a gray area right up here. This is here in Tacoma at Freight House Square. So I would imagine the train in the future would move up a little bit to accommodate more cars. So I believe this is the first train of the afternoon. Oh, now it's switched. So it's heading to Seattle. So that can be confusing. It's now switched to going north to Seattle. So it's going to go back the other way. So let's walk down this direction. Yeah, I just switched. So during rush hour, the dome will always have trains stopping and going, but locations south of the dome may not always have that. Now that may change in the future. But I noticed yesterday that was the scenario. Okay, this truck, I don't know. Get out of its way. Feels like I stepped in something. I hope I didn't. But my sister wants to take this when she comes here, and I told her, I said, we can. The next stop, I think, is Kent? Or no, Puyallup. I don't know. I let me look at a map, and I'll tell you. So that's what you use. You tap your Orca card, which I have one, and you can get on it. This is a quick view on the inside, but this is just going to give me the times, not the stations. There should be a station map somewhere. Hold on. So this is what you're going to see also in Seattle. Anything that Sound Transit uses. So for the subway system, which is also light rail, they use this. The Tacoma Link, the streetcar doesn't use anything yet. It's free, but once they start the expansion and complete it, they're going to use the exact same type of machine. And then we'll take the Orca card as well. So let's see. Yeah, here's a map. All right. Okay. So yeah. So here's what you're looking at. If you live south of here, so this is where we are now. If you live down here, you're not going to get obviously as much service, but anything north of Tacoma Dome Station, you're going to get quite a bit more. Now, I don't know if they make a stop every single time, I would imagine, but this is basically the south line. It goes from Lakewood now all the way up, and it ends. The north line goes from here all the way up to Everett. Okay, so they're two different lines. Eventually, DuPont, which is down here, is going to have a station as well. It does not go to Kirkland. How often does it run? It is, oh, and this gives you an idea of the fares, if someone asks. So it's going to depend on, this is a one-way fare, it depends on where you're going, obviously. But it pretty much tells you kind of the cost. If you're a senior, pretty cheap. Youth is next, and then obviously adult. If you're going to Seattle, it's $5.25 one way. So not bad. If you're going from here to the next stop over, $3.25. You're going to Lakewood or Puyallup or Sumner, $3.50. $4 to Auburn, $4.25 to Kent, Tukwila, $4.50. And then of course Seattle is $5.25. I don't know what it is from here up. I don't know what the costs are, but probably somewhere similar. When it comes to frequency, you can hear the other one coming in. It's going to be coming in from the other direction. This is how frequent it is. So northbound to Seattle, it tells you. So it starts as early as 4:50. That tells you all the way down. Okay. So right in here after 10:30, you're not going to have another train come through here going north until 4 o'clock. So that's one of the complaints about the Sounder. People wanted to have times all the way through. Now, once we get the light rail from Seattle, you're going to have frequency every 6 minutes all day. And then southbound to Lakewood, it pretty much tells you much limited service. That's on track number 1. So, gives you an idea. Okay, let's see if it's gonna take off anytime soon. I hear the thing. I think another one, I don't think it can leave until this one goes. Yeah, no problem, James. So hopefully it takes off and the other one comes. One of the things, I have never taken the Sounder. Well used to when she worked up in Seattle, but I have never taken it. It's the only form of transportation here I haven't taken. I've taken the ferry, I've taken all the light rail systems, but I have not taken the Sounder. Is Seattle safer than other big cities? I think so in many areas, in many aspects. I mean, violent crime is not as bad here as in some other places. Crime has increased in Seattle recently, and there's a lot of reason for that. This bush might have some spiders or something. So let me move. But comparing it to other bigger cities, yeah, I think it's pretty safe. And I've been to bigger cities, lived in bigger cities. It's by far safer here overall. That's not to say that you won't have crime, and that you won't necessarily be a victim of it, but I've lived in other places and the chances in those other places are much higher. Let's see the other question. I don't have Noe here to help me with the. Okay, does it go to cities near Seattle, such as Bellevue? No. Bellevue does not have commuter rail service. Now, with that said, Bellevue is getting Link light rail service. So right now, the East Link is being constructed. So the biggest problem with that is going over the lakes that are there. So Lake Washington, I believe. So we have a floating bridge, which is a concrete floating bridge, which vehicle traffic has been traveling on. Now they're going to have train traffic on the floating bridge. So that is being constructed as we speak. The subway system in Bellevue is being constructed as we speak, and that should be opening up in the next 5 or 6 years, I believe. I can't remember the timestamp on that, but within the next 5, 6, 7 years, that should be open and completed, or less. Linwood also will be opening close to that time frame as well, and that's just an extension further up. I forget the color code for Eastlink, to be honest with you. I do know the line that eventually will be built in Issaquah is the purple line. I know that we're the green line down here. Seattle will have the blue and red line, but I'm not sure which one is Bellevue. They're either blue or red. I can't remember. But this train does not go to Bellevue. Nor will it ever. I don't think that Bellevue would allow it, A, but there's just no infrastructure there really for this to happen. There used to be a lot of track and stuff like that there along the east side, but a lot of cities done away with those tracks and actually put down trails instead. So you have broken segments. And you also have some development and stuff like that, so it just makes it impossible. So as a result, Sound Transit is just going to put in a light rail system, which really will do very well. How often do the buses come in Seattle? Do you mean from here to Seattle? You will also see, because the highway is just right up there, if you look through this area, that's part of the highway. You'll see a lot of Sound Transit buses come through. It can be confusing for people because we have several different types of buses down here that go to different areas. We have buses, because we're in Tacoma, we have buses that go to Thurston County, which is Olympia. We have buses that go up to Seattle, which is the Sound Transit, rather. And then we have Pierce Transit, which is down here as well. So there's so many different types of buses, and then we have small feeder buses as well. The buses that go up to Seattle, which are Sound Transit, they are typically the express bus. And the bus station, I might walk over there and show you guys after this, but it's just literally the next street over in the parking garage area. But basically I'm not sure the frequency of that. When it comes to which one will get you there faster, this train or the bus, they're pretty comparable, to be honest with you. They're pretty comparable, and you can see why, because the sounder has to sit, wait for a few people to get on, and then it leaves. The buses, they're straight through. They stop every now and again, but there's so much traffic that it makes them slow. So both of them, you're going to look at over an hour to get from here up to Seattle. So the ferry system is something that we're hoping to get down here. We already have a car ferry that takes you over to Vashon, but we don't have a ferry system that takes you up to Seattle, which we're the second largest city here. It'd be great to have a ferry system, and they're working on that, and that will shave down a lot of time as well. I just missed it, but there was a bus, a Sound Transit bus that just came through. The Sound Transit buses will look just like this train in terms of the color scheme, so you'll have the wave on that as well. But you're going to see a lot of that towards this time of the day. Okay, So this train's not leaving until 10 minutes. So I'm not going to sit here and let you guys deal with that for that long. I think also because it's the holidays too, that's part of it. Um, but yesterday they were running through here pretty quickly. So let's go down this way. There was a lot of people when they get off the train, they go down this way. So I'm going to take you over quickly to the bus station. It really is not that far. Now, straight ahead, if you notice, is, I don't know if you can see in there, that shiny little thing right here is a streetcar. So that's the Tacoma Link. That's their maintenance facility. They're actually expanding that building. So you're going to see a lot of construction back over here because they're expanding the track, and they're also expanding, not here, they're not expanding the track, but they're expanding the building here, and throughout the city, they're expanding the track system. So they're making it more than double the current size. Now, because we're going to have more trains, and eventually supposedly bigger trains for the Link light rail, this is pretty steep, by the way. They have to make the building a lot bigger. So all of this is brand new. Sound Transit went through, built all of this. This up here was all wooden at one point. These wooden poles, it was the trestle. And since we've been living here, they tore all that down. So in the past 2 years, they constructed all this. Okay. Now, I've said, here's 25th Street. If Link Light Rail is going to build the light rail system, I think they would tear down this building, probably. Because it makes good sense. It connects everything. I don't know for a fact. Here's the parking garage. So literally, you come from the station, you go right here, you're able to cross over. Let me hit this button real quick.
Wait.
And so this tells you what that is. You're able to cross across. Here's the track system here, which goes to the maintenance garage. The rest of the facility is up there. So you're easily able to walk right in here, but if you need to take the bus, and this is the buses for throughout the entire region. Okay, you just walk right down through here. This gives you an idea. It doesn't take you long. You walk right down through here, and this is the bus hub. Now this is where they're going to also, I believe, the BRT line is going to stop. That's our freight rail system over there. And all right, let's go. This is the bus system here. This is the bus hub. So any buses that you want, it depends on the side, but it will be on either side of this. So this is where you would go. Also, up that way is Greyhound. So the Greyhound bus is just on the other side of this parking garage, just right up there. There's no point in walking up there, but that's basically if you are in Greyhound. So as you can see, this is a pretty busy spot. Very convenient for people to get around. Okay. Now, this is also the other street that they're considering putting the station on for Link Light Rail. So it could even be on that side of the street, or it could be on this side of the street. Okay. Now, let's go back up. One thing that is a problem is prostitution here. I'm not claiming anything, but that's one of the things. So as you can see, all of that is brand new. So I don't know if that lady was a prostitute or not, but that is something that is kind of common in this area, especially down that street there. Yes, Tacoma does have its own bus system. The bus you just saw back there is their bus system that they use. This is a Pokestop, actually. If I was playing Pokemon, I would be able to get this stop. So, heading back up this way. Lots of trash and litter back here. But this is where a lot of folks go, leaving the train. Either they go through the building or they stay on the street. And I guess it really just depends on how hot it is or how the weather is. But in the building, it can get kind of bottlenecked because there's so many people. So a lot of folks, this is steep. I'm sorry if I'm breathing hard. It's not that bad. I'm just out of shape. And this is where I was talking about before. The train theoretically can go from here and sit all the way up to there. So they can keep adding more and more cars, which is something they probably are going to do soon because this gets pretty full consistently. So, whew, that gives you an idea. It's not super far. I mean, you can literally go from the bus to the train in no time at all. If you cut through the middle of this building, right up there, you're able to get right to the streetcar. So, the plan, I'm gonna sit. They planned it pretty decently. It's not bad at all. It's actually a pretty good setup. Let me see what questions I have. Yes, James, I have. I don't think you want to see me on a scooter. I did do a video of me on a scooter once here, and it was kind of funny. I definitely load tested that scooter out. But yes, I have. I'm gonna flip this around now so you guys can see. Yeah, I mean, I actually did. I was a little nervous, to be honest with you. When I was like 17 or so, my next door neighbor had an actual scooter. And so he said, go ahead and drive it. So my mom had like a big field. I got on it, and he told me what was the brake, what was the gas. I got so nervous because there was a hole, like a big, huge hole in the field. And instead of hitting the brake, I hit the gas. And so, yeah, it wasn't, ever since then, not my thing. But anyhow, so the motorcycle guy left. Let me flip this around. I don't know what that sound is. It's a weird sound. Let's see. Once he pulls up the ramp, I know that they're about to go. I have not, Stephen. I have not ridden it to Seattle. Noelle has. Noelle, when she was working up at University of Washington in Seattle, she used to take this every day. Well, not every day. She took this, and then later she switched to the bus. And she liked the bus better, I guess, because the sounder stops and it waits like this. So I think she was just nervous. The bus, however, could get stuck in traffic or anything, and that could be a big, big problem. But is it reliably to Seattle? Yes, it is. This thing, what's really unique about it is when they pull into a station, they're going pretty fast. It's amazing how fast they actually are going before they stop. Like it's not a slow crawl. When I was in New Mexico, they have the rail runner, and literally a mile before it got to a station, it was just crawling. This thing zooms all the way up, like it's going a pretty decent clip. So he's pulling that in. They're about to go. It's going a pretty decent clip. So it moves pretty quickly. Now I do have to say that later, towards closer to 5 o'clock, because right now it's 4:05. Closer to 5 o'clock, the trains come a lot more frequently, or more frequently, I should say, than they do now. But they are pretty reliable up to Seattle. And again, some companies will pay for your transit. One of the big things, let me flip this around. Someone someone told Noel this. If you get a job here, try to negotiate and get perks. Most people are worried about. Let me flip this around. Hold on. So it's on me. The door's just now closed. So it's about to leave now. One of the big things is you could probably negotiate with your employer, and they will, instead of worrying about pay so much, that's important, also try to get parking and transit passes. Because a lot of times they will go for that. And if you get a transit pass, a monthly pass, you can ride any of the transit systems as often and as much as you want. So that is one of the perks. And again, the the Orca card, which is what we use. I don't know. Do I have it on me? I think I have it on me. I don't know. Noelle might have it. I have like 3 or 4 of them. You pay $5 to get the card, and then after that, you load it. You load time on it. I think she took my card. Yeah, I think she took my card. You can take any of the buses in Seattle, down here in Tacoma, any place that Sound Transit does business. Now, it will not work in Kitsap County because they're not a part of the whole system. But it will work up in Everett, their system up there, all of that. Reliable. It's okay, Stephen. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it is. I mean, I would say play it safe, because you never know what's going to happen. I would play it safe and make sure you obviously take the earliest train that you can. I mean, not super early, but definitely keep that in mind because anything can happen. And yeah, so I would say it's pretty reliable. But if you're looking for Hong Kong reliability, it's not going to be that way. They have the MTR system up in Hong Kong or over in Hong Kong is super reliable. It's like, I forget the percentage, but it's like extremely reliable. This is nowhere close to that, but it is fairly decent. Fairly decent. There's nothing that's going to really block it. Now, the problem is, and what I think a lot of people are concerned about, is when we finally get the Link light rail system, because the track will be elevated from here all the way up through Federal Way, all the way up until you get into Seattle. When you get into South Seattle, it's at grade, so it's on the street, just like the streetcar is. Not only is it going to be a lot slower at that point because it's going through city streets and traffic, but there has been a lot of accidents lately over the course of time. And the Link light rail system just turned 10 years old. So over that course of time, they've had 50 different accidents with cars. They've had over 24 accidents with people, just hitting people. And so that, if you're taking that, I think the reliability issue might be a problem because an accident will shut down the whole system. That is part of the problem with that. Now, they should have elevated it. Now, they're saying to put it underground would have been difficult. It should have been elevated, and that's something they may do in the future. But that is the one problem. Now, this you don't have as many issues with that. There are railroad crossings, obviously, but it's not as often as what you're going to see with Link when you get into the city. Let's see. I don't know when the next one is coming. I think it's going to come fairly soon. The buses can't go in the light rail tunnels anymore. No. Hey, Misty, how's it going? You missed it. The train just took off. I was showing folks how easy it is. Did a video earlier, walking around the Dome District. I mean, let me flip it around. It's still on me. Hold on. So this is the station right here by Freight House. It's really easy. And so I was showing them the Dome area and walking around, and then I basically said I would show them when the train comes. Well, the train came literally not long after I did the video, so I got back on and showed them the train, and then showed them how easy it is to get to the various different things. A lot of people ask that question, like, how do I get from point A to point B? How convenient is it? All of that, and I just showed in this video that you can get from the Sounder train to Amtrak to the buses to the Link Light Rail to anything pretty quick, right? The Amtrak station is just right here in the same building, as well as Sounder. But the Amtrak station here is closed because this section of track, which goes all around Point Defiance, I believe, they shut that down due to the accident that happened. And to answer your question, Mark, the buses and the light rail tunnels, I think that they're phasing that out if they haven't already done so, because they're expanding the system. What's going to happen is that they're going to have two different tunnels under the Westlake area. The reason is obviously us, and then the other reason is the existing tunnel that's there. It used to be that buses only were in that tunnel, and then it was shared for the longest time with light rail and the buses. And now the buses are going to be moved up above ground, and it's going to be strictly just for train access, because there's going to be the volume of trains are going to increase when they open up Eastlake, or the East Line, the East Side system. It's going to be super busy, very busy. So they're going to have another tunnel, because when you add in the South area, it's going to be a problem. When you add in West Seattle, that's going to be a problem. So they're adding another tunnel. They're thinking about putting it under King Street. They're thinking about putting it up under Westlake. They're thinking about a lot of different things, but it's going to be a problem. So no, to answer your question, I think that and it's been a while since I've been up in Seattle, I don't think the buses go through the tunnel anymore. If they do, it's going to be phased out pretty soon. Yes, Misty. That train just now left, and it's heading to Seattle. So, yes. Now, if you notice, let me flip it. That person's over there. So, there's a little fence right there. The next train that's coming will be on that other side of the track. So, it gives you an idea. So, you can kind of know if it's on this side, when you see it, the next time you see another train, it's going to be on the other side. So, it just gives you an idea. But yes, that train takes you. So I just showed them the system earlier. You have the north line, and you have the south line. The north line goes from Everett all the way down to Seattle, to King Street. The south line takes you all the way from Lakewood up through Tacoma. Tacoma has two stops, South Tacoma and then Tacoma Dome. And then the train's coming. And then it takes you all the way up to King Street. So that's where they both connect at. So let's flip this. This one will head to this one is going to be heading south. Okay, so if you accidentally get off, another one will be coming very soon. Now this one will probably sit for a while as well. Sorry for the noise. Sorry, a lot of squeaking. Um, Now this one, let me see if I can find. Okay, there's a window that will tell you it says south to Tacoma. This one should continue to stay going south. And of course, as I told you, people have to go that way, go over, go down, and then they can cross over. If you're on this side, if you're further up that way, you go down on the street and you can go left or right. So again, it curls around and it takes you over to the parking garage. Some people park along the street all along through there. All along that area is just surface parking, so you can park there for free. The city council is being blamed for not allowing police officers to do their job when it comes to crime committed by the homeless. Puget Sound Sounder. Yeah, so the train is called the Sounder by Sound Transit. And we also have a soccer team called the Sounders. So, similar colors that they use. Same thing with the Mariners, same thing with the Seahawks. So, let's see. City Council. Yeah, I think in Seattle's defense, because I know that sometimes people think I'm harsh on Seattle. I'm not. Or harsh on the mayor or the city council. I'm really not. I think that no one expected the city to grow as fast as it has. And so that led to a whole lot of problems. That's not to say that there's not things that they could have done to improve the city. I think they're finally getting around to doing that. The city also approved a $300 and something million sale of land. And so all of that money is going to be used to address homelessness and also affordable housing, stuff like that. So there are things that they're doing that are actually pretty good. So in their defense, yeah, there's a lot of things they dropped the ball on, but I think there's a lot of things they're also fixing as well. So it's a mixed bag. The prices in Seattle, they're bouncing around, right? In some areas they're cheaper, some areas they're still going up. Now, with that said, we're going to do a video soon that talks about the most expensive city in Pierce County for housing, and it's not Tacoma. Okay, the monorail. Yeah, the monorail system in Seattle was built a long time ago when they did the World Fair back in the 60s. So it only goes from the Westlake all the way to Seattle Center, which is basically where the Space Needle is. It's actually Space Needle is where the World's Fair was. So I think it's called the World's Fair. It was something, I can't remember now. But now they have a whole lot of different things there that you can actually go and do. Why they did not expand it, I don't know. I guess they felt like it was not needed. Keep in mind that from the time they built that up until they built the Link Light Rail, which was just 10 years ago, the city had a hard time getting people to vote for transit. No one wanted to pay for it. In fact, we had an opportunity to get a free subway system pretty much, and Seattle said no. So it took literally 30 years before we were able to get people to vote yes. So in that time, I think that folks felt like the monorail was just obsolete, because it is slow, but it's also on a very short segment. It's only a mile. So I think it's a mile. I can't remember. So it's a very short line, so I think that that's what threw people off. Now, if they built it like they did up in Vancouver, which has a, it's not a monorail, but basically it is what's called the Sky Train. If they built it like that, I think people would have jumped on board. It would have been a lot better, but hindsight's 2020, right? So let's flip this around. More than likely, this train is, sorry, it's on my face again. More than likely, this train is going to sit here for a little bit as well. Not sure. But gives you an idea. Hopefully they will consider expanding it in the future. I don't know. I mean, there was talk of doing that because keep in mind, Key Arena is being renovated. and that's where we're going to have a hockey team there. Hopefully, we're going to have an NBA team there in the future. And so, one of the big issues was, what do we do with all of that flow of people? And a lot of it was they wanted to basically um, rely on the monorail. A lot of people said it doesn't connect, it's slow, it doesn't have enough capacity, etc. Right? So instead, they're going to basically put a tunnel underneath. Now, this is the last I heard, a tunnel underneath, and it is going to be connected by light rail, which I think makes good sense. Okay, you can see up there quite a few people. So anyhow, that one will go towards the south. I'm going to get off here, get back in there, see what Noe is doing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just giving you guys kind of a brief idea as to how the transit systems here work, here in Tacoma at least. Sounds like another train's coming. Yeah, it sounds like it. Anyway, but yeah, anyhow, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.